Kai Merrick wiped the sweat from his brow as he stared at the holographic display in front of him. The lights of the research station Aegis Prime hummed quietly, a constant reminder that life here was orderly and predictable. Or at least, that's what it seemed. Kai had been working in the station's observation deck for almost 6 months, monitoring the asteroid belt near the outer edge of the system. It was routine work, checking for any unusual movements, energy spikes, or anything that could pose a threat to the station or Earth's space routes. Today, though, something was different. The sensors had tripped an alarm, just one, sharp and sudden. It flashed red on the display, a warning that usually meant immediate investigation. But when Kai brought up the visual feed, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay. Weird, he muttered to himself, leaning closer to the display. Just a glitch. Maybe. He tapped a few commands to cross-check the sensors with the station's AI, Ariel. The system hummed and processed the information at lightning speed. No anomalies detected in the visual spectrum. Ariel reported in its calm, almost soothing voice. Sensor reading confirmed unusual energy spike. Origin undetermined. Kai frowned. Origin undetermined? He ran his hand through his hair, feeling the tiny hairs stand on the back of his neck. That's new. He double-checked the logs. Every reading from the past 6 hours showed nothing unusual, and yet, the alarm had gone off. Kai replayed the security footage multiple times. No flashes, no objects, no signatures, just static in the corner of the asteroid belt where the sensors had detected something. Well, I didn't see a thing, I promise, Kai whispered under his breath, more to calm himself than anyone else. Unfortunately, no one was around to hear him. Commander Valara, the station's head, had stepped into the main control room earlier for a briefing. Kai knew she wouldn't be pleased when she found out. She had a sharp mind and a no-nonsense attitude, but she also expected her team to be thorough, observant, and ready for anything. Kai sighed and headed toward her office. He had a feeling this was going to be more than just a routine check. Valara's office was sleek and minimalistic, with holographic panels displaying star charts and research data. She looked up from her reports when Kai entered. Her sharp eyes immediately noticed the unease in his posture. Kai, she said, her voice calm but firm. I saw the alert from your station. Tell me exactly what happened. Kai swallowed. Commander, I didn't see anything. The sensors detected an energy spike near the asteroid belt, but there's no visual confirmation. The footage shows nothing. Valara raised an eyebrow. Nothing? Nothing, Kai repeated, feeling a bit defensive. I triple-checked everything. The AI confirmed the anomaly, but there's no physical evidence of anything unusual. Valara leaned back in her chair, steepling her fingers. You understand that even if you didn't see anything, you are still responsible for what the sensors detected. The station cannot ignore anomalies, even if they seem impossible. Kai nodded, though his stomach twisted with anxiety. I understand, Commander. But what can I even report if I didn't see a thing? Valara's expression softened slightly. Your job isn't just to see. It's to investigate, interpret, and document. That's what makes humans valuable in this station. Kai. Machines can detect energy spikes. Machines can record data. But humans notice patterns, ask questions, and make connections. That's why you're here. Her words hit Kai in a way he hadn't expected. He felt a small spark of determination. Maybe he hadn't seen the anomaly, but he could investigate it, and that could be enough. All right, Valara said. You'll start by reviewing all sensor data from the past 24 hours. Look for any patterns, even the smallest ones. Anything that might give us a clue. And Kai, she paused, her eyes locking with his, document everything. No detail is too small. Kai nodded again, a little more confidently this time. Yes, Commander. I'll start right away. Back at his workstation, Kai immersed himself in the data. He pulled up graphs of energy readings, sensor logs, and communication signals. At first, everything seemed normal, But then he noticed something strange. Tiny fluctuations in gravitational fields around the area of the belt. The changes were small, almost imperceptible, but they didn't match any known asteroid activity or station operations. "That's odd," he murmured. He zoomed in, comparing the readings with historical data. Over the past week, the fluctuations had increased subtly. Nothing alarming on its own, but the combination with the recent energy spike was unusual. Kai's curiosity grew. If there was something hidden in the asteroid belt, he wanted to know what it was. He pulled up the station's long-range scanners and ran simulations. Each time, the results were inconclusive, like trying to catch a shadow in midair. Then a thought struck him. What if it's not physical? What if it's intelligent? The idea made him pause. Could an intelligence exist in a form humans hadn't encountered yet, something that could manipulate energy fields without leaving a visible trace? It sounded impossible. But Kai had learned one thing about space. The impossible happened all the time. He decided to test the idea. Using Ariel, he set up a series of low-intensity energy pulses in the belt, hoping to provoke a response. The station hummed as the commands executed. For a moment, nothing happened, and then a flicker, just a tiny one, appeared in the readings. Kai's heart leapt. It's responding. He repeated the pulses, varying the frequency. Each time, the anomaly reacted, showing that it wasn't just a random energy spike, it was something aware of its environment. Reacting to stimuli, Kai leaned back, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. This could be the discovery of a lifetime, or the beginning of a problem far beyond his experience. Either way, he couldn't ignore it. Hours later, Valara returned to check on him. Kai had mapped out the reactions and compiled the data. When he explained the anomaly's responsiveness, her expression shifted from skepticism to curiosity. "You're saying this, whatever it is, reacts to our signals?" she asked. "Yes, Commander. And not just randomly, there's a pattern. It's almost intelligent." Valara nodded slowly. "I see. That's why I insisted you report it. Even though you didn't see anything. Humans are not just eyes, they're interpreters. You noticed patterns the AI couldn't. That's exactly why you're here, Kai." He smiled faintly, feeling a warmth of pride. It wasn't just fear anymore, it was a challenge. And he liked challenges. "Prepare a detailed report," Valara continued. "We'll need to present this to the station council." "And Kai." She paused, her voice firm but encouraging. "Be ready. This is only the beginning." Fiver. Kai left her office with a renewed sense of purpose. The anomaly in the asteroid belt was mysterious, yes. But it was also fascinating. Whatever it was, it had chosen a subtle way to reveal itself, and he had been the one to notice. As he returned to his workstation, Kai realized something important. Sometimes, not seeing something was just the first step to understanding it. And if humans had learned anything from the stars, it was that curiosity, determination, and ingenuity could uncover the most hidden secrets of the universe. He sat down, fingers hovering over the controls, ready to explore further. The belt was silent now, as if waiting for his next move, and Kai knew, deep down, that whatever he discovered next would change everything about how humans understood the universe and their place in it. Kai Merrick couldn't sleep. Not that he expected to. Not with the mystery lingering in the asteroid belt like a shadow that refused to vanish. He sat in his small quarters, eyes fixed on the hollow display that streamed live sensor readings from Aegis Prime's long-range scanners. The anomaly had settled into a quiet rhythm after his initial energy pulses, but subtle fluctuations continued, like a heartbeat hidden in the dark. It wasn't just curiosity anymore. Kai felt responsibility. If something intelligent existed beyond the station's walls, beyond human understanding, it deserved to be studied carefully. He pulled up the logs from the previous 24 hours again, scanning the data for patterns. At first glance, it seemed random. Tiny energy spikes, gravitational disturbances, a flicker of electromagnetic interference. But when he layered the graphs over one another, a pattern emerged. Not random, Kai muttered. His voice echoed softly in the empty room. It's deliberate. Kai spent hours isolating each spike and cross-referencing it with the station's activities. Nothing matched. The anomaly reacted only to his energy pulses and nothing else. It wasn't a natural event, like a solar flare or an asteroid collision. A thought struck him. It's learning. The idea made his pulse quicken. He had read about adaptive AI in training modules, programs capable of analyzing input and adjusting their output. But this was different. This anomaly wasn't in the station's database or any known human record. If it was learning in a way that defied all known rules. Kai decided to take a bold step. He prepared a series of patterned pulses, complex sequences designed to test memory and response. It was a simple idea, really. Like tapping a rhythm to see if someone can repeat it. He sent the first sequence and watched the readings intently. Nothing at first. Then, slowly, the energy spikes mirrored part of his pattern. He repeated the sequence with variations. The anomaly responded each time, adapting, predicting, and completing sequences that Kai had not sent. Kai leaned back in his chair, astonished. It understands patterns. The station AI, Ariel, chimed softly. Analysis indicates a high probability of adaptive intelligence. Source remains unidentified. Kai smiled, feeling a thrill he hadn't experienced in months of routine monitoring. Adaptive intelligence. Huh? That's one way to put it. The next morning, Commander Valara arrived for her daily inspection. Kai had prepared a visual map of the anomaly's responses and printed a detailed report for her. He found her in the observation deck. Arms crossed. Her expression unreadable. "Good morning, Kai," Valara said. Kai nodded. "Yes, Commander. And I think it's learning. I ran a series of patterned energy pulses last night, and it responded. It's almost intelligent." Valara's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Intelligent? You mean like AI? Kai shook his head. Not AI like Ariel. Ariel follows programmed logic. This reacts. It adapts. It completes sequences I didn't even finish. And it does it in ways that show understanding, not just calculation. Valara paced slowly, looking out at the stars beyond the observation windows. If what you're saying is true, then this could be significant. But we need proof, not speculation. You'll prepare the data for the council. And Kai. She paused, turning to face him. Be careful. Curiosity is valuable. But the unknown can be unpredictable. Kai nodded. He understood. He wasn't reckless, he was careful. But careful didn't mean timid. Over the next few days, Kai became obsessed with the anomaly. He built a virtual interface to communicate in sequences and patterns, testing responses and recording every subtle change. He noticed something remarkable. The anomaly wasn't just responding, it was experimenting, sending back variations that suggested it was trying to communicate. Kai leaned forward, eyes wide. It's trying to send a message. He ran the sequence several times, overlaying the anomaly's responses. Slowly, a basic structure emerged. It wasn't language as humans knew it, but it was ordered, deliberate, and consistent. Patterns within patterns. A code waiting to be deciphered. Kai knew he couldn't do it alone. He needed another human perspective. He called Dr. Lena Ortiz, the station's linguist and semiotics expert, into the observation deck. Lena, I need your help, Kai said as she arrived. Look at this. He displayed the sequences on the holo screen. Lena's eyes lit up with curiosity. Patterns within patterns. This could be a primitive form of communication, but it's unlike anything I've studied. Are you suggesting intelligence? Kai nodded. Yes. Something intelligent is reacting, adapting, maybe even learning. I think it's trying to communicate with us. Lena studied the sequences for hours. It's tentative, almost cautious. Whoever or whatever this is, it knows we're watching. It's testing the water. Kai smiled. I guess humans aren't the only curious ones. Together, they began decoding, using logic, pattern recognition, and trial and error. Slowly, small fragments of understanding emerged. A repeated sequence might indicate a number. Another might represent an instruction. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Meanwhile, the anomaly seemed to take notice of their progress. Energy spikes became more frequent and more coordinated, almost like it was excited by their attempts. For the first time, Kai felt a connection, not a bond, exactly, but a shared understanding. One evening, while monitoring the belts alone, Kai noticed an unusual energy fluctuation. The anomaly had formed a new sequence, far more complex than anything before. He ran it through his decoding algorithm and paused. Wait. That's a reference to quantum encryption patterns, Kai muttered. He checked his work twice, then a third time. Impossible. Someone or something here knows human technology. Knows our codes. Kai's mind raced. Could it be another human-made device? An abandoned probe? Or something else? He reached for Ariel. Initiate full-spectrum scan of the asteroid belt and cross-reference against all human tech archives. The AI responded immediately. Scan initiated. No direct matches found. Closest approximation. Experimental Earth probes from 70 years ago. Probability of match. Low. Kai frowned. Low? That means it could be human-made. But evolved? He leaned back, feeling the weight of the discovery. It was no longer just a curious anomaly. It was a challenge, a puzzle only humans could solve because of their ingenuity, creativity, and adaptability. Machines could detect energy, but humans could interpret intention, and that made all the difference. Valara returned in the afternoon. Kai briefed her on the progress. It's responding to patterns. It's learning from us. And, Commander, I think it might even understand some human technology. Though in a form we don't fully recognize yet. Valara studied the holo-display carefully. So, what you're saying is, this anomaly could be a lost probe or experiment from Earth? Kai shrugged. Maybe. But if it is, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's evolved. It's alive. In its own way. Valara leaned back, eyes distant. I see. Then we must proceed carefully. Keep documenting, keep analyzing. But remember, whatever it is, it's intelligent. Treat it as such. Kai nodded, feeling both nervous and exhilarated. He returned to his console and ran a series of sequences designed to test logic, curiosity, and adaptability. Each time, the anomaly responded, adjusting and experimenting in ways that suggested it was trying to understand him, just as he was trying to understand it. Hours passed. The asteroid belt was quiet now. But Kai felt an unusual sense of anticipation. Something was about to happen. Something beyond his experience, beyond the data, beyond anything he had expected when he first saw an empty readout with a flashing alarm. And in that quiet moment, Kai realized the truth. Humans were uniquely equipped to meet this challenge. Machines could follow instructions, but humans could innovate, interpret, and empathize. It was their creativity, their curiosity, their refusal to give up that was their edge. Kai's fingers hovered over the controls. He wasn't just watching anymore. He was participating. He was connecting with the anomaly in a way no one else could. Whatever the asteroid belt held, it had chosen humans to understand it. And Kai, small and young though he was compared to the vastness of space, felt ready. It was a challenge, and humans curious, determined, ingenious humans were ready to meet it. Kai Merrick could barely contain his excitement. After days of observing the anomaly and decoding its patterns, he was ready to try something bold. Direct communication. It was a risky step. The anomaly had shown intelligence, but its motives were unknown. Valara had reminded him several times to proceed carefully. Still, Kai knew this was the only way to truly understand it. Machines could record and calculate endlessly, but humans could adapt, improvise, and respond in ways no program could anticipate. That was the advantage he had. He prepared a series of energy pulses, designed like a language of sorts, a basic code using repetitions, pauses, and patterns that could represent questions and responses. He would observe, interpret, and adjust in real time. It was simple in concept, but the execution required patience, focus, and ingenuity. Kai initiated the first sequence. The lights of the observation deck hummed softly, the station vibrating faintly with the energy pulses. He waited, eyes glued to the holographic monitor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the anomaly responded, its energy spikes echoing a mirrored sequence, almost like a reply. "It worked," Kai whispered, heart racing. "It's trying to answer." He recorded the response and compared it to his original sequence. It wasn't perfect, but the pattern suggested an attempt at communication, an understanding of rhythm, timing, and logic. Kai's mind raced. If he could continue this exchange, he might be able to ask questions and receive answers, gradually building a dialogue. But first, he needed to understand the rules. The next day, he brought Dr. Lena Ortiz back into the observation deck. Together, they designed a simple protocol. They would send sequences with clear, repeated patterns, then observe and decode the anomaly's replies. Each step had to be slow and deliberate. Rushing could confuse or even frighten it. Lena looked at Kai with a mix of excitement and caution. "Kai, are you sure we're ready for this? It's unlike anything we've encountered. This isn't just a probe or a machine, it's something evolving." Kai nodded. "I know. But if we wait too long, we might miss it. I think it's curious, like we are. That curiosity could be the bridge." Together, they began their experiment. They sent a sequence representing the concept of numbers 1 pulse for 1, 2 pulses for 2, and so on. The anomaly responded by repeating the sequences and even adding variations, like it was testing whether Kai and Lena would notice. "Look at this," Lena said, pointing at the holographic display. "It's experimenting. It's trying to learn how we think. It's observing us, just like we're observing it." Kai smiled. "Exactly. That's the human edge, Lena. We notice patterns it didn't expect. We respond creatively. That's what makes us special." For hours, they worked. They sent sequences representing basic instructions, shapes, and even concepts like pause and repeat. Each time, the anomaly adapted. It didn't just react, it improvised. By the end of the day, they had established a primitive dialogue. It wasn't language as humans knew it, but it was a form of communication nonetheless. That evening, Kai stayed behind in the observation deck. Valara had approved his experiment under strict supervision. Trusting his judgment after observing his careful approach, he sent a sequence representing curiosity: 1 pulse, pause, 2 pulses, pause, 3 pulses. Almost immediately, the anomaly responded with a mirrored pattern and then a new variation he hadn't anticipated. Kai's eyes widened. "It's asking a question," he said softly. For hours, he and the anomaly exchanged sequences, each learning from the other. Kai realized something remarkable. The anomaly's responses weren't random. It had a form of reasoning, a pattern of logic that suggested it could understand consequences, cause and effect. He documented everything carefully, knowing the station council would need detailed proof. But more importantly, he was discovering something about humanity. Machines could follow rules, yes, but humans could adapt rules, invent new approaches, and empathize with intelligence, even when it didn't look like anything they'd seen before. Days passed, and the anomaly grew bolder. It began sending sequences that seemed to represent motion and direction, almost like instructions or requests. Kai followed the patterns, adjusting energy pulses to match the anomaly's cues. Slowly, he realized it was trying to teach him something. A hidden property of the asteroid belt. a flow of energy that had previously gone unnoticed. Kai called Lena. "You need to see this," he said, excitement breaking his usual calm tone. Lena arrived quickly. Together, they traced the patterns across the holographic map of the asteroid belt. The anomaly's sequences revealed subtle gravitational flows, shifts in energy fields, and microcurrents that had been invisible to standard sensors. This is incredible," Lena said, eyes wide. "It's showing us something completely new. Something humans never detected before," Kai nodded. "And it chose us to notice it. That's the human edge. Machines could sense the energy, but only humans could interpret the signals, understand the logic, and respond creatively. That's why it's communicating with us." Valara visited again that evening. Kai and Lena presented their findings, showing the anomaly's responses and the hidden flows it had revealed. Valara studied the maps carefully. "So, this anomaly, it's teaching us. It's revealing knowledge humans couldn't detect on our own. And it's doing so through interaction, observation, and adaptation." Kai nodded. "Exactly. And that's why humans are important. Machines like Ariel can calculate data, but only humans can interpret, adapt, and innovate. That's why it's responding to us specifically. It senses our curiosity, our creativity, our reasoning." Valara leaned back, clearly impressed. "It seems you've found the bridge between intelligence and understanding. If we handle this carefully, it could change everything we know about the asteroid belt, and maybe even intelligence itself." Kai felt a rush of pride, not just for himself, but for humanity. Humans had the unique ability to observe, interpret, and adapt in ways machines could not. And now, that ability was being recognized by something beyond their current understanding. Over the next week, Kai and Lena deepened their communication. They developed sequences to represent questions, objects, and even simple emotions like curiosity and caution. The anomaly responded in kind, mirroring their sequences, adapting, and improvising in ways that suggested it was not only intelligent, but also cautious and curious. Much like humans themselves, Kai reflected on the situation late one night. The anomaly had chosen them. Not the AI, not the automated systems, but humans. And it wasn't random, it was deliberate. Humans could reason, empathize, and adapt. They could interpret subtle patterns, notice small deviations, and respond with creativity. Machines could not. That was the edge humans brought to exploration, discovery, and survival. It was more than just a scientific breakthrough. It was a lesson in human ingenuity, persistence, and curiosity. Kai sent one final sequence for the night, a pattern representing trust and observation. The anomaly responded with a mirrored sequence, slightly modified, almost like an acknowledgement. Kai smiled. For the first time, he felt that connection not just with the anomaly, but with the universe itself. Somewhere in the asteroid belt, an intelligence had recognized humanity's unique qualities. And that recognition mattered. Kai realized something profound. Humans were not just explorers. They were interpreters, communicators, and innovators. And even in the vast emptiness of space, those qualities mattered more than sensors, data, or calculations. The anomaly was no longer a mystery to be feared, it was a partner in understanding, a mirror of the creativity and ingenuity that defined humans. Kai leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Tomorrow, he would continue the dialogue, expanding their understanding even further. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. For the first time, he truly understood the human edge. It wasn't strength or speed. It wasn't superior technology. It was the ability to think, adapt, and imagine possibilities where none seemed to exist. And as he looked at the patterns on the holo display, he realized something else. The anomaly was teaching him as much about the universe as it was about humanity. Chimeric woke to the soft hum of Aegis Prime. The asteroid belt outside the observation deck shimmered under the station's long-range scanners, as if it were alive. The anomaly had become more active over the past week, and Kai could sense it. It wasn't just responding now, it seemed aware of him, of Lena, and even of the station itself. He rubbed his eyes and opened the holo display. Sequences from the anomaly flickered across the screen. There was a rhythm now, more complex than anything he had decoded before. Patterns within patterns, repetitions with variations, pauses that suggested anticipation. It was as if the anomaly was testing them. Kai felt a thrill run through him. This wasn't just curiosity, it was a challenge, a test, and he realized that humans were uniquely equipped to meet it. Machines could follow rules, but humans could improvise, adapt, and reason morally. That was the edge he had to rely on. By mid-morning, Dr. Lena Ortiz arrived at the observation deck. She looked at Kai with a mixture of excitement and concern. "Kai, look at this sequence," she said, pointing at the holographic display. "It's more complex than before. I think it's trying to guide us through something." Kai leaned over. The anomaly's pulses now formed directional sequences. Arrows of energy seemed to indicate movement through the asteroid belt, shifts in gravitational fields, and hidden channels of energy. "I see it," Kai said. "It's showing us a path. But not just a path, it's a puzzle. Something we need to understand before we can proceed." Lena frowned. "A puzzle? Do you think it's safe?" Kai nodded. "We'll be cautious. But I think it wants us to solve this. And only humans can. Because it's designed to test observation, reasoning, and adaptability. Machines can't interpret subtle cues like this. They spent hours decoding the sequences. The anomaly seemed to present scenarios, each more complex than the last. One sequence represented energy flows through asteroids, while another suggested timing and pattern recognition. The anomaly didn't just want them to see it, wanted them to understand. Kai realized the significance. "It's a test," he said, "not of the anomaly, but of us. It wants to see if humans can reason, adapt, and collaborate. That's why it's communicating with us specifically. Our edge is creativity, problem-solving, and intuition." Lena nodded slowly. "Then we need to approach this carefully. Observe, hypothesize, experiment, and adjust. Every decision matters." The first real test came in the afternoon. The anomaly sent a sequence representing a simulated asteroid movement, multiple objects shifting unpredictably. Kai and Lena realized that following the sequence incorrectly could lead to dangerous outcomes if applied in the real asteroid belt. Kai took a deep breath. "Okay, step 1. We'll simulate this. Ariel, run a full simulation of the sequence using projected energy fields and asteroid movements." Ariel responded immediately, displaying a holographic projection of the asteroid belt, with the anomaly's sequences layered over it. The holographic asteroids moved according to the anomaly's instructions. Kai and Lena watched carefully, predicting potential collisions, energy surges, and disruptions. Each adjustment required careful thought and reasoning. Too fast, and they might misinterpret the signals. Too slow, and they might lose the anomaly's guidance. After several iterations, they found a solution that seemed to satisfy the sequence. Kai hesitated for a moment before initiating the energy pulses in the actual asteroid belt. The station vibrated slightly as the pulses were transmitted. For a tense few minutes, nothing happened. Then, the anomaly responded with a perfect mirrored sequence, confirming their success. Lena exhaled, eyes wide. "It worked. It accepted our solution." Kai nodded, feeling a surge of pride. Humans noticed patterns, adapted solutions, and interpreted logic. That's why it responded to us. That's the human edge. Over the next few days, the anomaly presented increasingly complex challenges. Sometimes it involved energy navigation, other times predicting gravitational shifts, or interpreting layered sequences that seemed almost like instructions for survival. Each test pushed Kai and Lena to use every skill they had: observation, reasoning, teamwork, and creativity. Kai noticed something remarkable. The anomaly wasn't just testing them, it was learning from their responses. Each solution they provided shaped the next sequence, suggesting it adapted based on human ingenuity. One evening, after a particularly complex test, Kai leaned back and reflected. It's teaching us, but it's also learning from us. It recognizes the human capacity to improvise, to reason morally, to collaborate creatively. That's why it's responding to us and not Ariel. That's why humans matter. Lena smiled. It's a partnership, not just a test. We're working together. Even if it's strange and alien, Kai nodded. He realized that this anomaly was more than a puzzle or a curiosity. It was a mirror of humanity's own ingenuity. It reflected their ability to adapt, create, and reason. The next test was the most demanding yet. The anomaly sent a sequence representing a hypothetical scenario. A cluster of asteroids moving in unpredictable patterns, with energy surges that could disrupt station communications. Kai and Lena needed to map the flow, predict movement, and transmit corrective pulses in perfect timing. Kai's hands moved over the holo controls with precision. Lena, we need to anticipate each step. One mistake, and we won't just fail, we'll miscommunicate with the anomaly, and it might reset the test. Lena adjusted the sequences, overlaying patterns they had learned from previous interactions. We've got this, she said. We just need to trust our reasoning, our instincts, and each other. They initiated the pulses. For a tense moment, the asteroid belt outside Aegis Prime shimmered as the energy flows responded to their inputs. The anomaly mirrored the pulses back, then added variations to test their adaptability further. Kai felt a surge of exhilaration. This wasn't just a test, it was a collaboration. Humans and anomaly, thinking together, learning from each other. And humans had something no machine could replicate: intuition, creativity, and moral reasoning. After several cycles, the anomaly responded with a sequence that Kai interpreted as acknowledgement. They had succeeded. Lena smiled. We did it. We passed its test. Kai exhaled, feeling both relief and pride. We didn't just solve it. We showed it what humans can do. Think creatively, adapt, and reason. That's the human edge. The anomaly's behavior changed subtly after that test. The sequences became more collaborative than challenging, suggesting trust. Kai noticed that it now included pauses for reflection, waiting to see how humans would interpret its signals. Valara arrived to review their progress. Kai and Lena presented the latest sequences, showing how the anomaly had adapted to their responses. Valara studied the data carefully. It's remarkable. This intelligence isn't just reactive, it's interactive. And it recognizes human reasoning and adaptability. That's why it trusts you, Kai. And that's why humans matter in discovery. Kai felt a warmth of pride. It wasn't just about solving puzzles or decoding sequences. Humans had something unique: the ability to innovate, interpret, and collaborate with other intelligences, even those beyond human design. This changes everything, Valara continued. Not just for this station, but for humanity. Our ability to think, reason, and adapt is why we survive, explore, and understand the universe. And this anomaly, it recognizes that. Kai nodded. It's more than a test. It's a partnership, and it's teaching us as much as we're teaching it. Lena added. It's learning about us, just as we're learning about it. And it's clear. It trusts humans because of what we bring, that machines cannot: creativity, intuition, and moral reasoning. Kai looked out at the asteroid belt. The anomaly pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. He realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or strength, it was the ability to think, adapt, and innovate. The anomaly had presented a challenge, tested them, and ultimately recognized their worth. And in that recognition lay something extraordinary: proof that humans mattered in the vast, uncharted universe. Kai smiled. For the first time, he truly understood the weight of the human edge. It wasn't just survival. It was ingenuity, creativity, and collaboration that defined humanity. And even in the darkness of space, that edge shone brightly. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Tomorrow, he would continue to explore and learn from the anomaly, expanding their partnership further. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. Humans had passed the test, and they had proven that ingenuity, curiosity, and reasoning were qualities no machine, no matter how advanced, could replicate. And somewhere in the asteroid belt, the anomaly pulsed in acknowledgement, reflecting the very qualities that made humanity extraordinary. Kai Merrick woke to the soft hum of the station's engines, feeling a quiet excitement he hadn't felt before. The anomaly in the asteroid belt had shifted from being a challenge to a partner. Over the past weeks, humans had proven their creativity, reasoning, and adaptability. And the anomaly had responded in kind. But today felt different. The energy sequences from the asteroid belt pulsed with purpose. There was a rhythm, a pattern that Kai had never seen before. It wasn't a test this time. It was a message. Kai called Dr. Lena Ortiz to the observation deck. Her eyes widened as she examined the holographic display. "This isn't just patterns anymore," she said softly. "It's deliberate. It's almost like it's congratulating us or recognizing us." Kai's heart raced. "You think it understands humans?" Lena nodded. "It recognizes our thinking, our creativity, and it's acknowledging it." Commander Valara arrived minutes later, her expression serious but curious. Kai and Lena explained everything they had observed. The tests, the sequences, and the anomaly's evolution over the past weeks. Valara listened carefully. "So, it's more than just intelligence," she said finally. "It's aware of human qualities, creativity, reasoning, problem-solving. And it's responding to that. Not to Ariel or any automated system. That's remarkable. Humans are special." Kai smiled faintly. "It's not just us individually. It's humanity. The anomaly recognizes what humans can do that machines cannot." Valara nodded. "Then it seems you've achieved something extraordinary, Kai. You've shown the value of human ingenuity in a way that even this anomaly can understand." Kai felt a swell of pride but also a sense of responsibility. They hadn't just solved puzzles, they had demonstrated humanity's worth in a universe full of unknowns. And that came with obligations. The anomaly's latest sequence unfolded in the holographic display. This time, it wasn't just patterns or tests, it was data, streams of energy, gravitational shifts, and quantum fluctuations that had never been documented before. It was as if the anomaly was sharing knowledge, revealing secrets of the asteroid belt, hidden energy flows, and safe channels for navigation. Kai leaned forward. "It's giving us information. It trusts humans enough to share knowledge." Lena's voice trembled slightly with awe. "This is beyond anything we could have predicted. It's teaching us, but also acknowledging that humans are capable of understanding it." Kai nodded slowly. "Humans noticed patterns, adapted solutions, reasoned morally, and collaborated. That's why it's sharing this. We've shown what humans can do." Valara examined the data carefully. "This is a gift, Kai, and with gifts come responsibility. We must document everything, study it carefully, and ensure this knowledge is used wisely. Humanity has been recognized for its ingenuity. That's an honor, but also a duty." Kai understood. The anomaly had tested them, guided them, and now it had chosen to trust them. They were the first humans to communicate with an intelligence that had evolved beyond Earth's understanding. And that recognition was not something to take lightly. He thought of the tests, the challenges, and the moments of uncertainty. Each time, humans had adapted, improvised, and reasoned. Machines could follow rules, but humans had intuition, creativity, and moral judgment. That was what the anomaly had recognized, and that was what gave humanity its edge. Over the next few hours, Kai, Lena, and Valara worked together to map the anomaly's information. The asteroid belt, once a dangerous and uncharted region, became a network of energy flows, gravitational pathways, and safe navigation channels. Humanity now had knowledge that no machine could fully interpret on its own. Kai felt a sense of awe. The anomaly had not just tested humans, it had acknowledged their value. And that acknowledgement was more than respect. It was proof that human qualities, curiosity, ingenuity, empathy, were essential in the universe. "This is incredible," Lena said, examining the holographic map. "It's as if it's telling us, 'You have proven yourselves worthy,'" Kai smiled. "And it's true. We have unique abilities. Machines can calculate, but humans understand, adapt, and create solutions. That's why it trusts us." Valara stepped back from the display, her face thoughtful. "Kai, Lena, you've done more than communicate. You've demonstrated humanity's edge in a universe full of unknowns. That's the lesson here. It's not just about survival or observation, it's about thinking, adapting, and reasoning creatively. That's what makes us humans." Kai nodded. He realized she was right. Humans had been tested and had succeeded, not through brute force or superior technology, but through intelligence, observation, and imagination. That was what had earned the anomaly's trust. "And now," Valara continued, "we have a responsibility. Knowledge is power, and power requires wisdom. This anomaly has shared its understanding, but it expects humans to use it responsibly." Kai looked out at the asteroid belt. The anomaly pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. It had recognized their ingenuity, tested their problem-solving, and rewarded them with knowledge. And in doing so, it had taught them an even greater lesson: that humanity's strength was not just in what they built or discovered, but in how they thought, adapted, and collaborated. The days that followed were a whirlwind of analysis and documentation. Kai and Lena worked tirelessly, decoding every sequence, mapping every energy flow, and ensuring that the anomaly's information could be safely stored and understood by humans. Ariel assisted in calculations and storage, but the interpretation required human intuition. Machines could follow instructions, but humans could adapt them, apply them creatively, and understand their implications. Kai often reflected on the anomaly's intentions. It had tested them repeatedly, pushing their reasoning and creativity to the limit. And in every test, humans had succeeded. They had solved problems, anticipated challenges, and collaborated effectively. That was the human edge the anomaly had recognized. One evening, as Kai watched the asteroid belt pulse with energy sequences, he felt a profound connection. It wasn't just a puzzle anymore, it was a bridge, humans and anomaly, two intelligences learning from each other, expanding understanding across space. And humans had been chosen because of what they could offer that no machine could replicate: ingenuity, adaptability, and moral reasoning. Kai turned to Lena. "It's amazing, isn't it? It recognizes us, not just as observers, but as thinkers, creators, and collaborators." Lena nodded. "Yes, and it trusts humans to use this knowledge wisely." "That's huge. We've been given a responsibility." Kai smiled. "Responsibility and recognition. That's what makes humans extraordinary. It's not technology, it's us. Our creativity, reasoning, and curiosity. That's why we succeeded." Commander Valara joined them one last time before the anomaly's sequences slowed. "Kai, Lena," she said, "what you've done here is extraordinary. Humans have been tested, and we've been recognized. That's a milestone in exploration and discovery. Remember this: our ingenuity, adaptability, and moral reasoning are what set us apart. And now, The universe has noticed. Kai felt a wave of pride and awe. The anomaly had chosen humans because they embodied what no machine could replicate. It had tested them, guided them, and finally trusted them. Humanity had been acknowledged for its creativity and intellect, and that recognition carried responsibility. As the anomaly's energy pulses became steady, Kai realized something profound. Humans didn't just survive in space. They thrived because of their curiosity, their ability to think critically, and their willingness to collaborate. That was the lesson the anomaly had imparted. That was the human edge, and in the quiet of the observation deck, Kai smiled. Humans had been tested, proven, and recognized. And now, they had knowledge, trust, and the responsibility to use it wisely. For the first time, Kai understood the full meaning of their journey. Humans weren't just observers of the universe. They were interpreters, creators, and innovators, and even in the vast emptiness of space, that edge shone brighter than any star. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The anomaly pulsed softly in acknowledgement, almost like a heartbeat. And in that pulse, Kai felt the truth. Humanity had succeeded, not because of machines or brute force, but because of the qualities that made them uniquely human. Creativity, ingenuity, adaptability, and curiosity. The human edge had been recognized, and the universe had taken notice.